What's up guys, my name is Luke Walker and welcome back to another video, and today I'm actually doing a game review. Yes, of course you say in the title, I'm doing a game review. I'm reviewing a game. But before we do that though, let's talk about our beautiful classic documentary, March of the Penguins. March of the Penguins, of course, is one of the classic documentaries, of course voiced by Morgan Freeman, about all the penguins' lives, and of course throughout the way they all go to the training grounds to find a mate, and of course birth a baby chick. Of course, this documentary is a great hit, and this still gets really dark throughout the documentary, but it's still a great classic. I did recommend people have not seen it. And of course, what would happen if this documentary got a huge success, but it turns out it would bring up a video game adaptation, because they're also known as license-based games. Honestly, I don't want to explain too much, because license-based games, well, if you already know, it's based on, of course, making a video game from a movie. Although, there are some license-based games out there that are good, some of them are okay, but some of them are absolutely a pile of garbage, and I bet March of the Penguins is one of them. Now this one's going to be a little bit different because I'm playing on the GBA version, aka Game Boy Advance. I was thinking myself maybe do a DS version, but unfortunately the RetroGames.cc does not work with the touchscreen on this iPad I'm using. So anyway, with that being said, let's just get to the review and see how this goes on. This is my review of March of the Penguins on the Game Boy Advance. So this story, of course, is follows up of the documentary where the penguins will march their way to the other side of the Antarctica, and of course when they get there, of course they have to find a mate, and then soon later on the baby chicks will get birthed. Soon later on, the penguins are going to go back in the water, and now all the baby chicks are going to do them on themselves now. And that's literally it for the story. Although, I would go a bit further, but I don't want to spoil too much because it spoils a bit of the documentary. So that's the only reason why I don't want to spoil too much about this game. There's not much any story in general in the game that doesn't tell us much. But, well, that is really that quick, honestly. So, that's really it for the story. Let's just get to the gameplay now. Now, there are 4 game mechanics in this game. One of them is Lemmings, the sliding to find a mate, the underwater sequences, and protecting the egg. For the strategy levels, all you have to do is you have to place some obstacles to guide your penguins to the other side of the level. Each one of these items had to be useful. The softball, the fire, the slide, the fish, the trampoline, another platform, a bridge, and stairs. And throughout the levels, you'll see snowflakes that you have to collect. You have to get a collective total of snowflakes to proceed to the next level. And trust me, these are going to be a pain in the butt to do later on when we get to the negatives. Thankfully, there are some items that are going to be useful. The trampoline, guarantee they're going to have to be useful throughout the game. For these levels, you had to play as a penguin to find a mate, but you stay on the path of the snow. When you stay on it, you have to choose each path you have to take, blindly. There's really nothing much to say about it. And you had to be careful of these holes that unfortunately brings you all the way back to the beginning of the stage if you mess it up. For the underwater sequences, all you have to do for this level is you have to collect fish by avoiding some other enemies like squid, seals, and pufferfish. And be careful, do not get hit by these enemies unless you lose a bit of hit of the air meter. If the air meter is empty, this means your penguin is drowned. The only way to get your air meter back all the way back up is to have to go back up to the surface to make all your air meter back to full. And then finally we got protecting the egg, where you have a penguin who has an egg on her foot. If you actually bump into a wall or a penguin that is near you, the egg will obviously fall off your foot. You have to be really quick to get to the egg or else it'll be frozen when it gets to 0, because you have a cold meter at the top left that is drains down the egg of being frozen. And that is it. Now before I get to the negatives though, about this dreadful how the gameplay is, there are some positives I could say about the game. If you get one of your penguins at the end of the level, hold down the B button to make them go faster. which is really useful, so that way it's really easy, so that way you don't have to lose time. And hell, even the snowflakes do actually come back, so if you're really lucky, if you got one of your penguins that are a little bit far away, then you can actually recollect these snowflakes again without taking a sweat. That's all the good I can say about the game. There's nothing else I could say good things about it, because that's why we're moving on to the negatives. Now, don't even get me started with the goddamn game mechanics in this game, because honestly, the game mechanics in this game are so boring. Not only if it's a little bit boring, but the game itself is actually impossible. A game that is rated E for everyone, there's no way in hell a child will be smart enough to think what is the strategy of this stupid game. The underwater levels and protecting the egg are really sluggish. The only problems I have with these is the goddamn controls. For the protecting the egg, there is no stop button because your penguin continuously keep moving when if there's a random penguin obstacle that in your way, you have to keep moving back and forward until you progress, and that is really annoying. Because it's making these levels really unfair because it's really easy to bump into a wall and mostly hit by an obstacle, which really makes these levels so irritating. And the underwater sequences are really a pain. Sometimes at the dash at times is kind of a pain because if you dash near to an enemy, you bump into it. Because honestly, there are plenty of times where there are a bunch of enemies that avoiding damage feels almost close really hard to avoid. Cause the air meter goes down a wee bit fast. And thirdly, what was the point of grabbing some snowflakes? I don't get it. I have no idea why I need to collect snowflakes. What was the point of that? I mean, I legit don't get it. Seriously, what is wrong with the developers who made this game thought it'd be a good idea? It's legit making these levels a wee bit of a pain to deal with because you're on a time limit. Because you have to quickly get a total of snowflakes and get all the penguins at the end before the time runs out. That does not happen like that in the documentary. The music in this game is pretty generic. This is probably the most generic Game Boy Advance music I've ever heard in my life. Well, let's see how to comparison. Let's listen to the DS version and see how it looks. Okay, now we'll listen to the Game Boy Advance version. I mean, I would say the DS version is a bit better because at least he has some better drumming in it and sort of out. But as for the Game Boy Advance version, it still really sounded really generic. It's not really the worst, but it's still really a bit generic. Also, I really dislike about this stupid find the mate levels. The only reason why they're kind of a pain, because the game doesn't even tell you where you're supposed to go. The only way I think I know I'm going is where I go follow these where the golden snowflakes are, because I'm thinking myself that I should follow me to a different path. And the other thing that annoys the hell out of me is that when you fall down a hole, you go all the way back to the beginning of the level, as I mentioned before. And you may as well have to restart the level because the time limit still keeps going. And that's the only reason why the game mechanics in this game are boring and really frustrating, because how really difficult it is. And my last negative of the game is the goddamn password system. I mean, look at this! Why does it have to be so long? I don't understand! Thankfully it's not numbers, but my god, it's way too long. That's the only reason why that I have to cheat, because you can find these passwords in the websites, as these are the passwords I'm showing for this footage for this video. Even if you lose, you still need to enter a password to play these levels again. Or you have to be really fast by pressing the restart button. You can't restart where you lose the level. To be honest, a game that only has 12 levels in the game, this isn't worth your time. I can go on and on how bad this game is, but I think I've done enough. There's so many negatives on here I would, but I don't want to go waste too much time. Anyway, let's move on to my conclusion. Overall, this is still one of the worst games I've ever played. It's a tiny bit pathetic there's only 2 good things, but there are so many problems with this game has. So really aggravating levels, annoying password systems, and of course the most boring strategy games I've ever played. I seriously do not recommend waste your time playing this boring, repetitive game, but if you're really curious to play it, just play the DS version. I would say that was a bit better. But overall, this is still one of the worst games on the Game Boy Advance. With that being said, I'm gonna give March and the Penguins a 2.5 out of 10. Honestly, I needed to go back and watch the documentary again, because that has some warm and really sad moments in it, but the video game in general is just that bad. Honestly, after the review of this, I would never ever come back and play this game ever again in my life. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching to my very first review on my channel. I was gonna plan this until when I get my channel to 200 subs, but I decided to do it anyway because I have nothing else to do. And I nearly thought it would be a great idea to make a video out of it. Since I think I'm the only YouTuber making this March and the Penguins review. But still, but if you guys want to see more videos like this, click the like button and subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching everybody, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care everybody.